Today on November 21st, Archangel Michael says, I looked into your next season, and it brought me to tears. I wasn't permitted to speak until this moment. My beloved child, listen closely, because something within you has already leaned toward these words, as if a soft hand turned your face toward a light you didn't realize you needed. Before you step fully into this moment, I want you to sense the gentle shift happening around you, the way the atmosphere grows still when truth prepares to reveal itself. Archangel Michael has waited for the veil to thin just enough for your heart to receive what it could not bear until now, and he steps forward with a tenderness shaped by watching every quiet battle you've survived. There is something he has longed to say, and now that it reaches you, it carries the weight of heaven's compassion. You may notice a quiet hum beneath your thoughts, a contrast to the noise that has filled your recent days. That noise tried to convince you that you were alone, that nothing was changing, that heaven had fallen silent. Yet revelation does not shout, it settles, it gathers, it waits for the moment when your spirit is weary enough to receive without resistance. Stay with me, dear one, because this softening you feel is not accidental. It is the first sign that the message meant for you is finally allowed to touch the parts of your soul that have been asking for direction. Michael whispers that he has watched you move through storms you did not name out loud. He saw the nights you pressed your hand to your heart, trying to steady a trembling you didn't want anyone to witness. He saw the way you kept walking, even when hope felt thin as thread. And when he saw the future rising before you, he cried not from sorrow but from awe, because the strength inside you was shaping something more beautiful than you have ever imagined. The brilliance coming toward you did not come cheaply, it was sculpted from every moment you chose not to give up. For a moment, breathe gently and sense that warmth growing deeper. Let it move through your chest like a quiet sunrise spreading across still water. This warmth is not imagined. It is the resonance of recognition, the soul remembering what the mind has not yet understood. Michael's presence brushes against you with the softness of a feathered wing, and though you cannot see him, you can feel the steadiness he brings, like a shield placed gently but firmly around your weary heart. You stand at a threshold now. Something old is loosening, something new is aligning. Do not rush to define it. Just allow your spirit to notice how different this moment feels from the noise you've grown used to. Let the peace soak into you, little by little, as if heaven is tuning you to a frequency you had forgotten how to hear. And as this peace settles, know that what is being prepared for you carries both purpose and tenderness, and the next whisper you feel will guide you deeper into the truth that has been waiting to find you. Allow this quiet shift to wrap around you like a promise unfolding, preparing your heart to recognize the gentle signs that will rise softly in the moments ahead. Before you move any deeper, beloved, let your body remember what peace feels like. You've carried so many thoughts today, letting them spin, letting them tug at the edges of your spirit, and now heaven gently invites you to set them down. Take a slow breath in, not rushed or forced, just a soft welcome to yourself. Let the inhale widen your chest, let it stretch the places where worry has been sitting too long, and when you exhale, feel a small release as if something heavy finally agrees to loosen its grip. Breathe, soften, receive. Let those words move through you like a quiet rhythm, a gentle tide washing over a tired shoreline. Breathe, soften, receive. Each repetition invites your spirit to step farther away from distraction and closer to the presence that has been waiting for you. You do not have to earn this calm. You only have to enter it. And as your breath steadies, notice the way your shoulders subtly lower, how your jaw unclenches without effort, how the space inside your chest begins to feel a little less crowded. You're not imagining this shift. Heaven always draws nearer when you grow quiet enough to notice its nearness. The world around you teaches urgency, noise, and constant motion, but revelation comes differently. It arrives like a whisper in a silent room, like soft light slipping through curtains at dawn. This is why you're being invited to breathe. This is why slowing down matters. Clarity does not compete with chaos, it waits patiently until you become still enough to hear it. So breathe again, my dear one. Let the inhale feel like a doorway opening, let the exhale feel like stepping through it. With each breath, feel your awareness drop from your mind into your heart, settling into the deeper place within you where truth lands gently. Here, in this inward quiet, the clutter fades. Here, the presence of peace becomes something you can feel rather than chase. And if there's a soft warmth gathering in your chest, let it be. That warmth is not random, it is alignment, it is recognition, it is the beginning of hearing differently. Stay with me in this softened space. Let your breath create room for what is approaching, because what wishes to reach you carries subtlety and tenderness, and it speaks in tones only a grounded heart can understand. In this quiet, something sacred begins to rise, preparing you to receive the deeper message forming just beyond the edges of your awareness. My dear one, I know there have been moments where you looked at your life and wondered if something was wrong with you, or if heaven had quietly stepped back and left you to navigate the ache alone. You've asked questions in the dark, questions you never said out loud because you feared the answers might break you even more. You've carried heartbreak that felt too heavy for the size of your hands, confusion that stole your sleep, and a loneliness that wrapped itself around your ribs as if it had every intention of staying. And for a while, you believed the silence meant abandonment. You believed the delay meant denial. But hear me gently, none of this was punishment. Not even a single moment. What you walked through was seen, held, and understood far more deeply than you realized. Heaven was not ignoring you, heaven was protecting you. There were doors you were never meant to force open, paths that would have drained the light from your spirit, people whose presence would have taken more from you than they ever offered in return. The delays you resented were shields. The endings you mourned were rescues in disguise. The loneliness you hated was actually space being carved out for something purer, steadier, more aligned with the truth of who you are becoming. You felt abandoned, but you were being guarded. You felt forgotten, but your name was being spoken with tenderness. And though you couldn't see it, Michael stood beside you through every silent night, watching how you held yourself together even when the weight felt impossible. He saw the way you kept choosing hope in small ways, showing up, trying again, offering love, praying even when your voice trembled. He saw how you pushed through exhaustion, how you whispered, "Just help me make it through today," and how, despite everything, your heart stayed softer than the wounds you carried. This is why he wept when he saw your future. Not because he saw more suffering, but because he saw what your pain was building in you. He saw the strength forming quietly beneath your grief, the wisdom blossoming in places where you felt only emptiness, the resilience taking shape each time you stood back up. He saw the person you were becoming, more discerning, more open, more courageous, more aligned with the life that is meant for you. And he knew that if you understood how deeply your pain was being transformed into purpose, you would stop seeing these past months or years as evidence of abandonment. So breathe for a moment and let this truth settle. You were never punished, you were prepared. Your heartbreak did not disqualify you, it refined you. Your tears did not diminish your worth, they watered the soil of a future you cannot yet fully see. And even now, something within you knows this, because a quiet recognition is stirring in your chest. Let that recognition expand. Let it remind you that every painful season was shaping the very future that moved an archangel to tears. Something good is rising from the very places that once made you feel lost, and soon your heart will understand why nothing happened the way you expected. Beloved, there have been moments when a door closed so abruptly that it left your heart stunned, wondering what you did wrong or why heaven seemed to interrupt something you were ready to give everything for. You replayed conversations, questioned your worth, and tried to make sense of an ending that felt unfair or mistimed. Yet what you saw as rejection was, in truth, a gentle interception. It was heaven stepping between you and something that would have drained your spirit, dimmed your light, or tied you to a path that could not carry the fullness of who you are becoming. These weren't accidental disruptions, they were purposeful redirections, even if they didn't look like protection at the time. Think for a moment about the situations you tried so hard to hold together. You poured your energy into relationships, opportunities, and dreams that seemed promising on the surface, yet something always felt slightly misaligned beneath them. You tried to ignore the heaviness in your chest, the quiet warning in your intuition, the subtle discomfort you couldn't explain. And when those things eventually fell apart, it felt like the universe was working against you. But, dear one, those collapses were actually shields. What felt like being pushed out was, in truth, being guided away. Forced endings often come when you would never leave on your own, even if staying would cost you more than you could see. There were roads you were fully prepared to walk, unaware that they led straight into places where your spirit would have been compromised. You might have lost your joy, your peace, or your sense of self trying to make something work that was never meant to hold your heart. So when heaven redirected you, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly, it wasn't to punish you. It was to preserve the parts of you that are sacred. It was to protect the dreams that haven't fully taken form yet. It was to guard the tenderness inside you that makes you capable of love, compassion, and deep spiritual connection. What you thought was a setback was actually a shield, placed lovingly in front of you. And though you may not see it clearly right now, a day will come when you look back at the doors that stayed shut and whisper, "Thank you." You'll thank the moments that forced you to pause, because they kept you from running towards something that would have broken you. You'll thank the interruptions that delayed you, because they aligned your timing with opportunities that match your calling rather than your fears. You'll thank the seasons of waiting, because they stretched your faith and sharpened your discernment. You'll thank the disappointments, because they redirected you toward blessings that were already preparing themselves for your arrival. So allow yourself to soften into this truth. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned with precision. Every delay has carried intention, and every redirection has moved you closer to the life that honors your spirit rather than drains it. Trust the protection you cannot yet see, for it is shaping a future you will step into with gratitude glowing in your chest, knowing it all unfolded exactly as it needed to. My beloved child, you've been noticing little moments lately that feel strangely timed, as if the universe is tapping your shoulder. You pause, wondering if you're imagining it, or if something is actually trying to reach you. This is where guidance often begins, not with thunder, but with subtle interruptions that settle into your awareness. The numbers that repeat, the song that plays at the exact moment you need comfort, the dream that feels more like a message than a memory, these are invitations. They come softly so they don't overwhelm you. They come quietly so you can recognize the peace wrapped inside them. You don't need fear or superstition to understand them, you only need to pay attention to what stirs warmth inside your chest. That warmth is the language of alignment. It is how heaven adjusts the volume of truth so you can hear without anxiety. When you see 1111 or 555 appear in ways that feel intentional, notice what your spirit does in that instant. It doesn't tighten. It expands. That expansion is the difference between coincidence and confirmation. Coincidence brushes past you and disappears. Confirmation lingers, asking you to breathe, to listen, to slow the swirl of your thoughts. Sometimes guidance arrives as a sudden wave of peace when nothing around you has changed. Sometimes it comes as a chill across your arms, a gentle tingle that makes you pause mid-movement. Sometimes it appears in a dream that feels brighter than waking life, as if someone touched your heart while you slept. And sometimes it's a song, one you weren't looking for, carrying a line you needed without knowing why. These moments aren't random. They gather around you the way small breadcrumbs guide someone through a dark forest. They help you trust a path you cannot fully see. They help you recognize that you are not walking alone. You've asked for clarity, and heaven answers in ways that meet you where you are, not where you think you should be. So soften your awareness. Let your senses become gentle antennas rather than tense defenses. Pay attention to the inner nudges that feel like a hand resting lightly on your back, encouraging you forward. If something brings tension or panic, release it. True guidance never arrives wrapped in fear. It arrives in the frequency of peace, in the tone of reassurance, in the soft glow of knowing without understanding how you know. And as you keep noticing these synchronicities, a new pattern will begin forming, one that prepares your heart for a sign you have not yet seen. This sign will not shout, it will feel like recognition. It will feel like a gentle unlocking somewhere inside you. You will know it because your whole body will soften instead of brace. Stay open, beloved, because something meant for you is drawing near. And when this sign of release arrives, your spirit will whisper yes before your mind even finds the words. Beloved, as guidance begins to surround you more clearly, this is where discernment becomes essential. Not every voice that calls your name is meant to be followed, and not every feeling that rises in you comes from truth. You have walked through seasons where urgency pushed you into decisions that drained your spirit, and you've also known the quiet, steady pull of authentic alignment. The difference between the two is profound, and learning to recognize it will protect your heart, your energy, and your future. Heaven never rushes you. Heaven never pressures you. The divine speaks in a tone that feels like spaciousness, not tension. False urgency shows up like a tightness in your chest, a fear of missing out, a voice whispering that you must act now or lose everything. You know that feeling. It has led you into situations where you gave too much, stayed too long, or silenced your intuition to maintain peace that wasn't yours to carry. That kind of urgency disconnects you from yourself. Authentic alignment, however, feels different. It feels like breathing room. It feels like clarity arriving without force. It feels like a soft yes rising from deep within, even when your mind doesn't yet understand every detail. The divine does not manipulate. It invites. It waits for your consent. It honors your boundaries. This is where the peace test becomes one of your greatest spiritual tools. When something crosses your path, an opportunity, a reconnection, a decision, bring it to the quiet place within you and ask a simple question: does this bring peace or pressure? Pay attention to the first subtle shift in your body. Peace might feel like warmth, like lightness, like an exhale you didn't realize you were holding. Pressure feels like contraction, like your spirit bracing, like your heart pulling back even if your mind tries to justify moving forward. Your intuition is not loud, but it is honest, and it has been denied long enough. And remember, boundaries are not walls against love, they are doors that determine what kind of love is allowed to reach you. Setting a boundary is not inconsiderate, unspiritual, or unkind. It is sacred stewardship of your energy. It ensures that only what aligns with your well-being has access to your inner world. Heaven supports your no just as much as your yes. When you honor your boundaries, you align yourself with divine timing rather than human urgency. So as signs continue to appear and your path begins to open, trust the language of peace more than the noise of pressure. You are not meant to chase what is meant for you. You are meant to recognize it by the calm it brings. And soon, something approaching your life will pass this peace test with such clarity that you'll feel your whole being settle, knowing it carries heaven's fingerprint. Beloved, before you move forward, let me place a gentle practice in your hands, something small enough to use anywhere yet powerful enough to shift the atmosphere inside you. When your thoughts begin to spiral, when emotions rise too quickly, when the mind grows loud and the heart grows tired, this simple ritual will help you return to the stillness where clarity lives. You don't need candles or sacred spaces. You only need a moment of willingness, a soft pause, and the intention to come home to yourself. This is not about perfection. It is about presence. Begin with your breath. Breathe slowly, breathe gently, breathe as if you are reminding your body that it is safe to soften again. Let your inhale stretch the tight places inside your chest, and let your exhale loosen the stories that tell you everything is urgent. Breathe, soften, release. Let those words become a quiet rhythm. Breathe, soften, release. With each repetition, feel your inner world settling. The emotional spiral slows. The sharp edges inside your thoughts begin to melt. The pressure that once felt overwhelming becomes something you can hold without breaking. Now place your hand over your heart. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Feel the subtle thump beneath your palm, constant and faithful, even on days when your spirit wavered. Whisper a simple prayer, something your soul can lean into without effort. You may speak it aloud or silently within yourself. God, calm my mind. God, steady my heart. God, bring me back to peace. Let the words move slowly. Let them echo gently through your being. Allow the prayer to settle like soft rain on dry ground, sinking deeper with each breath. Then reflect, not with judgment, but with kindness. Ask yourself, what am I truly feeling? What is asking for my attention? What can I release right now? Do not force answers. Simply let them rise the way a quiet truth rises at dawn. Your spirit always knows more than your racing thoughts. Stillness gives it room to speak. When you listen from this gentler place, the worries that once felt tangled become easier to understand, and the clarity you've been seeking begins to surface in small, steady waves. Stay in this soft space for just a moment longer. Let the breath anchor you, let the prayer hold you, let the reflection clear the fog around your heart. This is how you reset your spirit. This is how you return to the frequency of peace. And as your inner stillness deepens, you'll feel a subtle readiness forming, preparing you to recognize the next whisper of guidance that is already moving toward you. Beloved, there will come a moment when you notice something has changed, not in the world around you, but in the quiet inner landscape you carry. It won't begin with fireworks or dramatic revelations. It will begin with calm, gentle, steady, unexpected calm. A kind of calm that makes you pause mid-thought because it doesn't match the circumstances you're standing in. This is the first sign of the shift. This is how heaven announces that something is aligning for you. Peace arrives before the breakthrough does, and your spirit feels it long before your eyes recognize it. For so long, you've lived in survival mode, bracing for disappointment, waiting for the next moment of turbulence, trying to hold everything together with exhausted hands. You've lived on alert, scanning for danger even in peaceful moments, because your heart wasn't used to resting. But when the shift approaches, something inside you begins to unclench. The constant monitoring eases. The heaviness that once sat on your chest becomes lighter. You find yourself breathing deeper without realizing why. You feel a softness in your body where tension used to live. It's subtle, but it's sacred. Then comes the clarity. Not rushed clarity, not pressured clarity, but clarity that emerges like a sunrise, slow, honest, certain. Thoughts that once tangled in your mind begin to separate. The confusion that clouded your decisions starts to dissolve. You understand yourself a little more. You understand your desires a little more. You stop trying to force outcomes that were never meant to be yours, and instead you feel drawn toward choices that honor your spirit. You begin recognizing what feels aligned and what feels draining. This clarity doesn't push you, it guides you. It doesn't shout, it illuminates. After calm and clarity, opportunity follows. Doors that once felt sealed begin to shift open. Conversations flow with ease. Encounters feel meaningful instead of chaotic. The right people seem to appear at the right time, not because you chased them, but because you became aligned enough for them to find you. You'll notice that what once felt distant now feels within reach. The opportunities that arrive won't demand that you shrink, hustle, or abandon yourself. They will feel like invitations rather than obligations. They will match the peace that came before them. And, beloved, you'll recognize the shift because you'll stop questioning whether you deserve good things. You'll simply feel ready to receive them. You'll feel rooted, steady, anchored in trust rather than fear. Survival mode will no longer be your default. Instead, you will carry a settled confidence that what is meant for you is moving toward you with grace and intention. As you move into this new space of calm, clarity, and unfolding opportunity, something else will begin to stir within you, a sense of quiet anticipation. Not anxiety, but readiness. Not longing, but openness. This is the gentle inner signal that prepares you for what is coming next, a story of restoration that mirrors your journey and reminds you that what grows after a long season of struggle often arrives with softness, beauty, and purpose. Imagine, beloved, a woman who once carried the same weight you've been holding, the ache of uncertainty, the sting of loss, the quiet fear that maybe her heart had been stretched too thin to feel whole again. For a long time, she moved through her days with a kind of gentle exhaustion, doing her best to smile while something inside her felt dimmed. She had prayed for change, for clarity, for a sign that life still held tenderness for her. But all she felt was the echo of what she'd lost. Her choices were guided by fear then, fear of choosing wrong, fear of being hurt again, fear that hope would betray her. She didn't realize she was building walls with her worry, walls meant to protect her but that kept out the very light she longed for. One morning, though, something small shifted. She woke up and noticed an unfamiliar calm resting over her chest. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was simply present, like a soft blanket laid gently across her spirit. She didn't know why, but she breathed deeper that day. She moved slower. She didn't rush her thoughts. She allowed herself to sit in silence without trying to fill it. Survival mode loosened its grip for the first time in months. And in that quiet, a strange permission bloomed within her, the permission to hope again, not recklessly, but tenderly. A few days later, she found herself standing in a place she had visited many times before, a small cafe where she often read or sat to think. But this time, she noticed things she had overlooked: the warmth of the sunlight on the wooden table, the soft hum of conversations blending into a soothing backdrop, the way her own breath settled as if her body recognized peace before her mind did. There, in that familiar space, she felt a gentle nudging inside, not telling her what to do, but reminding her she was safe to soften. And then it happened, not a miracle, not a promise fulfilled, but an encounter shaped by ease rather than fear. A person nearby smiled at her in a way that didn't demand anything. Their presence felt steady, grounded, gentle. They exchanged a few simple words. Nothing dramatic. Nothing binding. But the moment felt different from the connections she used to force. It didn't pull on her wounds, it soothed them. It didn't rush her forward, it met her where she was. The encounter wasn't the answer to all she longed for, yet it carried peace, and that peace was the real sign. She walked home that day feeling lighter, not because her story had been rewritten, but because she realized her heart was capable of opening again. She understood, in a quiet way, that restoration doesn't always arrive as a sudden transformation. Sometimes it arrives as a sequence of gentle moments that remind you of your resilience, your worth, your capacity to receive love and goodness without bracing for pain. Dear one, her story is not a guarantee of yours, but it is a possibility, a reminder that your spirit can mend, that peace can return, and that encounters aligned with your healing do exist. Let her journey soften something inside you. Let it remind you that fear-led choices are fading, and peace-led moments are drawing near, carrying hope that your heart has not forgotten how to recognize. Beloved, now that peace has begun to brush against your spirit, this is where you learn to let it settle, to let it live inside you instead of passing through for only a moment. Think of these next 7 days not as tasks or obligations, but as soft invitations. Each day is a gentle touch on your shoulder, guiding you from scattered living toward intentional grounding. You are not being asked to perform or perfect anything. You are simply being invited to nurture what is already awakening within you. On the first day, when you wake, place your hand over your heart before you reach for anything else. Just breathe. Let your inhale rise like hope, and let your exhale release yesterday's weight. A few slow breaths are enough. This small ritual tells your body that peace is a choice you can return to, not an accident you must wait for. It steadies the beginning of your week with tenderness rather than tension. On the second day, take a moment to reflect, asking yourself one simple question: what softened in me yesterday? Do not search for dramatic answers. Look instead for subtle shifts, the kind that feel like your spirit stretching after a long rest. This reflection anchors your progress and teaches your heart to notice the quiet ways healing appears. The third day invites you to bring intention into movement. Walk, stretch, or simply sway your shoulders as you breathe deeply. Allow your body to release the residue of old stress. You are teaching your nervous system that calm can coexist with motion, that peace is not fragile. On the fourth day, speak a gentle prayer. It can be as simple as "guide me" or "keep me steady." Let the words rise naturally. Prayer is not a performance, it is a soft alignment, a way of reminding your spirit that you do not walk alone. The fifth day asks you to reclaim a little silence. Turn down the noise around you for just a few minutes. Let your thoughts settle the way dust settles in sunlight. In this quiet, you'll feel your inner clarity sharpening, showing you what matters and what no longer needs your energy. On the sixth day, extend kindness toward yourself. Speak one encouraging sentence aloud. Let it land. Let it linger. This gentle affirmation helps your heart trust its own worth again. And on the seventh day, pause to notice the difference. You will feel it, subtle, steady, unmistakable. This intentional rhythm has created space inside you, space where peace can live and grow. And from this grounded place, you will begin to sense the next unfolding rising toward you with quiet purpose. Beloved, take a breath and look gently at where you have walked. Your spirit has traveled through landscapes that felt heavy, lonely, and unclear, yet here you are, still listening, still open, still reaching for light even when shadows lingered longer than you wished. This is the moment where the before and after begin to separate, where you can finally sense the shift that has been forming beneath the surface of your days. You may not see the full picture yet, but your heart knows. It feels the turning. It feels the quiet rise of renewal. No more waking with a weight on your chest, wondering if you are falling behind or missing something meant for you. Now you wake with a steadier breath, with the soft awareness that your timing is not late, your journey is not broken, and your soul has not been overlooked. No more scrambling for answers that never satisfied. Now you find clarity arriving slowly and honestly, like light moving across a quiet room. No more bracing for the worst because of what you endured. Now your body begins to trust rest again, trust goodness again, trust that peace is possible for you. There was a time when confusion wrapped around you like fog, making you second-guess every step. You felt lost in your own life, unsure of which direction would finally bring relief. But that fog has begun to thin. The path still may not be fully visible, yet you walk differently through it. You walk with an inner compass awakened by stillness, by discernment, by the quiet presence you've learned to recognize. This is the after. This is the shift you earned through every hard night and every small act of courage. No more pouring from an empty heart, giving more than you received, trying to hold together what was never meant to endure. Now you honor your energy. Now you protect your peace. Now you understand that boundaries are not walls, but sacred guardians of your well-being. No more shrinking to fit spaces that never celebrated you. Now you stand softer but stronger, rooted instead of braced. Now your spirit claims its own worth without apology. And beloved, no more living in survival mode, scanning the horizon for signs of danger. Now you sense the presence of alignment taking shape inside you. Now you feel moments of calm settling like gentle blessings over your days. Now you notice the synchronicities that once felt random but now feel purposeful. Each one whispers, "You are guided. You are held. You are not alone." Your old season was full of learning, painful, stretching, relentless learning. But your new season carries renewal. It carries restoration in ways you can feel before you can name. It carries opportunities that match your spirit instead of draining it. It carries people who meet you with sincerity instead of confusion. It carries peace that lingers rather than slips away. Look at the mosaic of your journey and see how every piece fits, how every delay protected you, how every ending redirected you, how every tear softened you into deeper wisdom. You are stepping into a chapter shaped by clarity, steadiness, and quiet confidence. And as this chapter unfolds, you will feel gratitude rise within you, gratitude for how far you've come, and gratitude for what is finally rising to meet you. Beloved child, allow your spirit to grow quiet for a moment as the presence of Archangel Michael draws near, not as a figure demanding your attention, but as a gentle guardian who has watched over the unfolding of your journey with unwavering compassion. He does not rush you. He does not pressure you. He simply stands beside you with a strength that feels like a shield and a tenderness that feels like breath on your heart. If you sense a soft warmth moving across your chest or a lightness rising in your shoulders, let it be. These are the echoes of reassurance, subtle reminders that you have never walked alone, not even in the chapters where everything felt silent. Michael whispers to you with a tone that carries peace rather than urgency. You have feared missing your moment, feared falling behind, feared that life was moving on without you. But he reminds you that nothing meant for your soul can pass you by. Divine alignment does not rely on perfect timing from you, it relies on perfect intention from heaven. The path that is yours is patient. It bends with you. It waits for you. It unfolds in harmony with your healing, not in punishment for your delays. Let that truth settle like cool water over old fears. There were seasons when you believed every setback was a sign of failure, when you mistook waiting for denial. Michael blesses those tender places within you now. He touches the memories that still ache, not to reopen them, but to soothe them. His blessing feels like steadiness, like permission to breathe again, like a soft release in your chest as if something tight is finally loosening. He speaks over your life. You are held. You are guided. You are exactly where you need to be for what comes next. And beloved, he reminds you that your spirit is far stronger than you've realized. You survived seasons that would have shattered a weaker soul. You found light even when all you had were ashes. You kept faith alive in the smallest ways, whispers, breaths, quiet hopes, and heaven honored every one of them. Your resilience is not unnoticed. Your tenderness is not unprotected. Your future is not unprepared. Michael blesses your next steps with clarity, with calm, with alignment that rises gently rather than abruptly. You may feel a soft opening in your heart right now, as though a door inside you is cracking wide enough for hope to slip through again. Let it. Hope is not a risk, hope is a companion. Allow the blessing spoken over you to settle into your bones. Allow peace to become the place you move from, not the place you chase. And when the next sign finds you, whether in a dream, a number sequence, a moment of ease, you will recognize it by the quiet yes in your spirit. Before you go, if these words touched something true in you, consider leaving a comment or intention below. Not for validation, but for connection. You are part of a circle of souls walking this same path toward peace, and your voice may be the comfort someone else needs. If you feel called, you're welcome to join this prayer-filled community, to receive more moments of calm, guidance, and gentle blessing. Go forward now with Michael's protection resting over you, and with the knowing that your path is unfolding right on time.